I'm fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen you for a long time.
Yes, I have.
It's so lucky to see you in New York.
Yeah.
How about your life since you left Singapore?
Okay. I have been in the state for almost 5 years.
Yes.
So far, so good. But I'm not currently living or studying in the city. I'm living in the city in upstate New York. It's called Syracuse. So I'm currently a PhD student
Yeah.
at Syracuse College of Law.
Yeah, I heard you have done a very good job in your academic research.
Yes, I did.
How about your outer life? Is there some difficulties you have met?
Well, I think I love Syracuse University because they provide a lot of support for disabled students.
Right.
And all those buildings are basically accessible for disabled students. And we also have the Access U program, which provides accessible buses for disabled students, including me. Because not all those buses there is accessible, right? Public buses. But the university guaranteed disabled students have access to public transportation. So they will have like a van, a transportation van, and pick up all disabled students and drop them in the buildings where they are having class. So I was one of those disabled students who have the privilege to enjoy the service. So I love it so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear
Yeah.
all of this. I remember in Singapore, it's not so convenient. You have mentioned this very good equipment.
Yes.
But as a Chinese girl, especially as a membership of the people with disabilities, I'm not sure whether you have ongoing some unhappy thing, just like discrimination or something like this.
I just from my own perspective, because most of my time I spent in the university, right? So we have this so-called disability resource center. So they provide support for disabled students. So most of my time at university, I don't feel any discrimination. I just feel fully supported as a disabled student, as an Asia Chinese student. But I do feel that because we're living in a little big city in upstate New York, but I feel like those discrimination maybe it's just not based on your disability identity. Most of the time, as the things I saw, because I have worked in some non-profit organizations in Syracuse, I saw people who are born in poor or who are racial minority like Black people. They will face a lot of barriers, challenges with their navigating the legal system there. So I would say that the world in university and the world outside is totally different. They're just two words.
It's very good. Yeah. You English, so what? You speak English.
I have been there so long time.
Yeah. And so when I mention language, someone said that language means the whole, the common status of nationality. So how do you think of the language? Have you met some bad experience about language?
I think because I came here as a student, right? So that's how I got a lot of opportunities to learn English and to practice English. I literally immersed myself in the English-speaking environment, and I also do a lot of intern work for a while. So I have the chance to meet a lot of people who speak English, and then I practice my English. But the one thing I realized that in the American society, even if American society always say, oh, we advocate for diversity, but I also say that English is just the one main language they use. And sometimes they will use the language as the vehicle to discriminate against racial minority. So once a time I worked for a local organization in upstate, right? So there is a case I have involved in is that the local a local department company, they said we only welcome people who speak English. So and there are many people in upstate New York, they don't speak English. English is not their first language. Yeah. I would say it's just because most of them they're immigrants, right? So they don't speak English or they don't use English as their first language. There's a company in upstate New York, and if you calling them and if you ask them, will you provide interpreter who speak Spanish? And they will say, we don't have any interpreter. And they will say, we don't have any opportunity, available rooms, apartments for you. However, if you call them, if you say in English, do you have availability? Do you have available apartments? They will say, yes, we have. So you will say they use English as a barrier or as a represent of your racial identity and use it to discriminate people who are racial minorities. So that case I involved in, we just represent those racial minority and to say, okay, what are you doing? Just discriminate against people who speak Spanish, Chinese, and then it's illegal. So it's a huge case, and they did this not only in upstate New York, they did it in many other states. So that case was settled, even if they always said we didn't do anything wrong, we didn't discriminate against anyone, but we know that's the reason they got settled.
Very interesting story.
Yes.
Token take.